Having pain in your shoulder blade is a very common location for pain, and there are a lot of misunderstandings and misdiagnoses about this type of pain in particular. In this video, we'll explore what causes shoulder blade pain and what you can do about it. Hello, my name is Dr. Grant Cooper. I'm the co-founder and co-director of the Princeton Spine and Joint Center. Okay, there are several potential causes of shoulder blade pain, but there are three main ones that stand out. Let's review the three most common causes first. Now, the most common reason that people develop pain in and around their shoulder blade is overuse or repetitive stress to the rhomboid muscles, which are by the shoulder blade. This happens for a host of potential reasons. Poor posture, hours on the computer, staring all day at your cell phone. Basically, modern life seems designed to put a lot of pressure and stress on the muscles around the shoulder blade, and as a result, it's common to unfortunately repetitively stress these muscles. If this is happening, then clearly addressing the underlying biomechanical problem is the most important thing to do. Now, we can do this, and we should do this in two ways. The first and most obvious way to address the biomechanical problems of everyday life is to look at your daily habits and the ergonomics around those habits and try to improve them. So, for example, let's say you spend 8 hours a day working at a computer. The first thing you'll want to do is look at your workstation and improve the ergonomics there. So make sure, for example, that your feet are flat on the ground when you're sitting, your knees and hips should be bent at 90 degrees, and importantly, your screen should be set at eye level, and your back should be straight in your chair, and your shoulders should hang at your side with your elbows at 90 degrees and your wrists in neutral position when you're typing. A really good trick to help you with this setup is to take your computer screen and you place it relatively close to your nose so that if you start to slouch, you bump into your computer, and that reminds you to sit back up and sit straight. If you have a laptop, the best thing to do is to get a Bluetooth screen so that you can separate your keyboard from your screen. It's basically impossible to use only a laptop and still have good ergonomics. Don't get me wrong, I love my laptop, I use it a lot, but it's still a problem because you can't have good ergonomics with it unless you use a Bluetooth screen or use the laptop as your screen and use a Bluetooth keyboard. But you have to be able to separate the keyboard from the screen. The second thing to do is to try and take a very short break every 30 minutes or so so that you aren't just in one static position. This is particularly true if your ergonomics aren't great, but even if your ergonomics at your computer station are perfect, backs just don't like being static. Spines and muscles, they crave movement. That's why we have sayings like use it or lose it, or motion is lotion for the joints, that sort of thing. So try and get up and stretch for 30 seconds or so every 30 minutes or so. Now, you may need to set an alarm clock to remind yourself to do this. The third thing that you should pay attention to is to stretch and strengthen the postural muscles so that good posture feels more comfortable and natural to you. That is, your muscles want to fall into a good natural position and they don't have to fight to stay there. In essence, if you're playing baseball, you would cross train so your muscles are prepared for baseball and they don't fatigue during the game. Well, you're preparing for sitting in front of a computer screen. So you need to train your muscles so that they support you in that endeavor and they don't fatigue quickly while you're using them. Now, these exercises should target strengthening the rhomboids, stretching the pecs, and strengthening the core muscles, which are also vital for maintaining good posture. Now, the second most common cause of shoulder blade pain is pain stemming from the facet joints in the spine. Facet joints in the spine are small synovial joints that allow for flexion, and they resist twisting and they resist extension of the spine. In the lower back, facet joints are the second most common cause of lower back pain, but in the neck and in the thoracic spine, facet joints are by far the most common cause of neck and mid-back pain. Now, here's the twist. When there's pain in the shoulder blade, even though the shoulder blade aligns directly with the thoracic spine, it's actually the cervical spine, and specifically the C5-6 and 6-7 facet joints, that make up the overwhelming majority of cases of shoulder blade pain. To learn more about facet joints, you can check out our facet joint pain episode on this channel. But basically, facet joints become arthritic in almost everyone. By the time someone is 30, 50% of people have arthritis in their facet joints. And by the time someone is 60, basically 100% of people are going to have arthritis in at least some of their facet joints. So you can't really diagnose facet joint pain with x-rays or an MRI because the facet joints almost always look arthritic. Instead, the way you diagnose facet joint pain is by blocking them with lidocaine or numbing medicine and seeing if the pain goes away. Now, the reason why facet joint pains become painful is when there's an inflammatory reaction to the joint, and that inflammation then causes the pain. It just so happens that pain in the lower two cervical facet joints tend to refer to the shoulder blade. Why do they do that? It's just the way the brain interprets the signals and has trouble localizing the origin of the pain. It's very similar to the way that people with heart attacks sometimes present with left arm pain and heaviness, even though the problem is really in the heart. Now, to be sure, thoracic facet joints can also become painful and refer pain to the shoulder blade, but just epidemiologically, this is much less common than the cervical facet joints. The third most common cause of shoulder blade pain is a pinched or inflamed cervical nerve. If this is the cause of shoulder blade pain, then there's often going to be some neck pain and some arm pain or numbness and tingling in the arm as well. Additionally, looking over your shoulder to the side of the pain will tend to reproduce the pain in the shoulder blade and the arm, although it's important to note that this isn't always the case. Now, there are many other potential causes of shoulder blade pain that are just much, much less common. A fractured vertebrae can cause shoulder blade pain. So if you have osteoporosis or weakening of the bones, then this should be on the differential diagnosis list to be sure. A dislocated rib, generally the top rib after a trauma, can cause shoulder blade pain. Certain serious heart conditions can cause shoulder blade pain. Heart attacks, particularly in women, can be sources of shoulder blade pain. An aortic dissection, which is a tearing of the wall of the largest artery, can cause shoulder blade pain and is clearly it's a surgical emergency. Abdominal issues like gallstones and peptic ulcers can also potentially cause shoulder blade pain as well. But if you're basically healthy, but you're having shoulder blade pain when you're doing a particular activity, such as sitting at your desk, it's a good bet that the source of the pain is musculoskeletal. It's reasonable then to try some lifestyle modifications and some home exercises to see if you can get the pain better on your own. If any of the exercises make the pain worse, importantly, don't do that exercise. If the pain is not getting better after a few weeks, it's time to see a doctor to arrive at a diagnosis and develop a treatment plan together. As always, if you have any questions or comments, or if you have any requests for future videos, please leave us a comment in the comment section. And please remember to press the like button as it helps us with the YouTube algorithm. We really appreciate your support. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel, then please consider doing so now. Thank you very much.